Hey everyone, Jarrod D here, and I just wanted to jump in before we started this episode and let you know that this will be our season finale. It has been a fantastic first year, a little bit over a year now, and the response to the podcast has been overwhelming. It has been fantastic, and I just want to thank you all for watching and for listening and for supporting us so far. I would love to come back next year with a season 3. Hopefully we can do that. Of course, we would need your support with that. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to continuing to having these great, funny, and fun conversations with you and talk about how we navigate this crazy community that we're all a part of. I hope you have a great holiday season, a great new year, and we hopefully will see you in 2023. Thanks. Welcome to the BoyFriends podcast, where we help you find your circle and your man. I'm Jarrod D. and I am back yet again with Jennifer Love Williams, Renee, and Alejandro.
A vision green. It's actually one of my favorite color greens.
My favorite color.
So I am really excited to get into this next topic that we have today. It actually comes from a viewer, longtime viewer, good friend, Viral. He has hit us up.
We were supposed to get pizza together, but we kept canceling on each other.
Oh, well, I'm sure we can make that happen.
I gotta get pizza with my buddy.
But yeah, the question is basically, well, how about I just read his entry for all of us, and then we can jump into the discussion. So let's see. He says, hey, podcast hosts. So my boyfriend broke up with me about a month ago, and I'm still hurting. I saw the signs of him lacking empathy in our relationship, but chose to give him the space he needed. I didn't have the guts to stand up to him. Instead, I was consistently pushed aside and shut down. I've been reminiscing about the good and bad memories instead of healing. I have 2 questions for you. What does it mean to really heal? What do I need to do to heal? And when's a good time to start dating?
Oh my God, that's a toughie.
Yeah. So why don't we start with the healing part, and then we'll move into like when's a good time to like jump into date, or I guess we can mix it in a little bit. But
I mean, healing is hard on anyone. I mean, you could finally break up with someone or get broken up with after like a 3 long year relationship and be fine the next week, because that's what was needed, and it's easier to heal from that. Or like you could be dating a guy for 2 months, and then for the next 2 months after you break up, it's like he was everything we were supposed to be. So yeah. Oh my God, but to heal from something, I think it takes a lot of self-reflection and just really, I don't know.
How have you dealt with, how have you bounced back after a breakup? And I guess like for everybody, like how have you bounced back? What is your experience?
So I am definitely a very obsessive thinker, and I know that about myself.
Me too.
And I will not stop thinking about a person for like the longest time, and I have to set myself back into reality. And I think that is the biggest part of healing, is just to like reach that reality with yourself and kind of think about like the reality of the situation. Like, okay, he was manipulative. He used his trauma against me. He never took mine seriously. Why do I want him back? And if the answer is usually like, because I don't want to be alone, it's a lot easier to heal. Or if it's a more complicated question of, you know, like, well, like I miss him being around, like I miss having my person. That's definitely harder. But then I start to think about like, okay, well, why did I think that he was my person? Can someone else be my person? It's a lot of thinking. It's a lot of being alone at first for me. That's how I tend to heal. I like to cry. I love crying, especially if I'm like in pain about a breakup. I will put on the T-Swift.
Yeah.
And I will, or Genuine, or Mary J. Blige.
Or Genuine.
And I will go. I will I will cry really, really.
You crying
really
a
hard.
pony?
No. like Genuine Cisco's like back, like the
My
like
whole
the
life has changed.
like
Is
the
that-
tracks, okay? like the tracks that weren't released as singles. People, they have good songs. They have good breakup songs.
Okay, I'm with you. Alejandra, I do want to jump over to you. I want to ask your experience. Like, how have you bounced back from a breakup?
I mean, I think healing is very personal, but at the same time, like, you know, you do have those feelings of loss and maybe you feel foolish in some ways. But I think you have to allow those feelings, like sit with those feelings and like, you know, understand, okay, well, yeah, I'm sad right now. And these are the reasons why I'm sad. At the same time, though, I think if you get breaking up with, you know, you have to think of, was this really working for them and for me? Because as much as I maybe want this person, you know, you cannot be with somebody that's not happy, you know, and if they're not happy, then you're not happy. And so sometimes it's best to kind of just like, you know, part ways. But I actually recently, when I was dating somebody for just a month and they did not live here, they actually lived in Miami or lives in Miami. And just like, I met him there, then he came here a few weeks later and everything seemed fine until he was like, you know what, I don't think I'm ready. I'm not ready for anything romantic. And it was hard, you know, because there was a connection. But at the same time, it's the same thing. Like, you know, if he's not ready for this, then that's something he needs to work on. And you know, it was sad. It was disappointing. And I sat with my feelings. I definitely did cry. And therapy helps. But also just understanding that, you know, you're not always at the same place that somebody may be, you know, they may not be able to give you what you want or what you need as a person. And if they're not willing to give that to you or they can't, then you kind of have to just like, you know, kind of pick yourself up and be like, I have to move on. Yeah. And even though it's hard, like, yeah, to this day, I think about what could have, you know, been if we were still seeing each other, but it's not it right now. And you just kind of have to like move on. Yeah. And learn from those experiences. Yeah.
Like, I think that's the key.
Like it's have to take that in and really use it as a way to move forward and to understand yourself a bit more and understand people around you.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot put all these, you know, expectations on somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah. How about you? I'm going down the line here. I want to add everybody's experiences here because I think it's important. Like you said, you know, you have to learn. You learn from your own experiences and you learn from everybody else's.
I also have another bit of advice that's I don't know if it's toxic or not, so I'd love to bring it up, but I want to hear yours first.
All right. Yeah, how you bounce back from
I haven't. Am I currently bouncing back? Yes. Okay. And I say it like that is because I never took time to actually heal before in the past. I thought I was over, and I keep coming into these relationships giving you all of me, never making no one earn me. And when I was asked, what do you mean earn? I said, no one is supposed to just have your love.
That's so deep for me. Ouch. Because that's how
I'm in that space now, but this is after several damn boyfriends, ass whoopings, black eyes, silicone shifting, even being incarcerated behind loving and protecting someone who didn't give a shit about you. And this healing journey taught me that I'm still on it and I'm perfectly imperfect. But the thing that most importantly is that I had a fear, sort of still do, of being alone. Yeah. And definitely I keep searching.
You're hitting all the love.
I know, like don't make me cry right now.
And you can't make someone love you, especially when you didn't love yourself. And I always exuded confidence and an amazing smile. But guess what? I never understood my own worth until now. And am I sort of scared to give myself 100% right now? Yes. I'm giving myself in portions, and it's slowly. And right now I'm at a halt space and don't want to go no further because I don't want to repeat what's in the past. I've put men before my family. I've put men before my career. And now I can't do that. Owning what I own now, I can't. this is not me just being an entertainer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can't afford to have someone that wants to compete. Not because my bread and butter, but my namesake. I cannot go back there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a little tough journey, but part of my healing journey is discovering the most important love, which is self-love. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yes, I do have a therapist. I see every Monday morning.
Everyone
Very good.
go
Very good.
Get a
to
therapist.
therapy.
So I didn't get this.
Everyone
I didn't
in
get
this
this healing
planet needs
process
to go
on
to
my
therapy.
own. This is with a.
I mean,
this is with a licensed
absolutely,
therapist
and that it's
helping me get to
amazing
it.
how that will help. Like kind of we all have blind spots, and I feel like if we're willing to go to see some like a licensed professional to talk about some things, we can shake some things up and kind of get moving, kind of get a little bit of a momentum into a positive direction, into positive change. I think my process of bouncing back is I have a moment to like mourn the relationship. I have a moment to just be like, okay, well, that didn't work out. I'm upset with you. I am upset with myself for letting certain things happen or whatever. There are those moments. And then there's also like, at some point I just get to like, okay, well, my life is good otherwise. My life is good now in this moment. I just kind of have to focus on the now as opposed to the past. And I also have to look at how I contributed to the relationship and see what I could do better and just learn from my own experience. And so, you take that experience and move it into the next, So I don't know. That's kind of how I am. I guess everybody kind of has their own timeline as far as how long it takes. And then of course that also dives into how deep the relationship was as well. Like the deeper the relationship, the longer it's going to take for you to kind of like come out of that and be ready. But I guess that kind of segues into the next question is like, how early is too early to kind of like get back into dating?
This actually kind of goes into my very toxic.
Okay. Hit us with it.
So I kind of learned that I had developed kind of like a pattern of thinking that if I just like keep texting them, like even if it is like a couple months, just like kind of peeking like, hey, like I've had the experience of men just like, even when they break up with me, then they come back, like they always come back. And I never really started to ask myself, why the hell would you want them to come back? Like, this is like they just like put so much smut into the relationship with this like awful breakup. And so I like the biggest part of healing for me is learning how to like almost detach myself from the situation. And I really don't know how toxic that is, because like after they break up with me, because I'm done with going like this childish like, oh, but maybe this time. Oh, but like, I'll come back. And as soon as I'm like done, as soon as I just like don't text them anymore and I'm just like out of there, they're just like, wait, no. I thought we were, because I feel like that's what people usually do. They're just like it's over, but it's not really over kind of thing. And that was really hard. Having that mentality was super hard to heal. So now I'm just like, if it's done, it's done. I don't want you back. Sorry, not sorry. And then I actually tend to move on pretty quickly now. The older that I get, I'll have, if it really did hurt and I need to mourn, I'll have a epic 1 or 2 days of crying, and then I will like put everything back, like put the armor back on, go back into battle. I will be fine being single, and I'll have that time with myself just to make sure when I do move on, it's not, just because I want someone again. Yeah, so like that would just be the defeat the purpose of all the great healing that I had just done. Like let's not like ruin the shit that we just built up. So like sometimes I think that like it is a little bit easier, just a little rebound, probably after a week. I'm like just like, all right, rebound time. Let me hop on someone and then I will get over that other person. And that actually helps a lot. Yeah. Do I recommend it? Yes.
I also think part of my process also is like, well, and this is like, if we talk about like toxic traits. And I don't know, it's not really toxic to anybody else but myself, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's more like, you know, it's almost like I have to know that I'm still desirable. And so I immediately go to like sex. Like sex is like the next thing. It's like, oh, okay, somebody
Sex
rejected me,
very
so we broke
healing.
up. And then it's just like, okay, well, I need to at least, I don't know, feel
get some
something.
attention. I think
Yeah.
like definitely rebound was something, you know, well, I think we all do, but I think like after this person, which was not a long relationship, I mean, was it even a relationship? But having sex though, it's not doing it for me. Maybe the attention, like the attention that you get, like you know, somebody to talk to, somebody that, you know, obviously thinks that you're cute or right, but the sex did not do it for me.
I like
And-
to break the seal a little bit in like stages. Like after a breakup, I like to like first have sex, and you know, it doesn't do it right away for me. But then I think if you just like go on just one date with someone that you're like, you know what, fuck it, let's go on
Yeah.
a date.
I think like whenever you're ready to date somebody else, like you'll know. It's not like a time. Oh, you'll be ready in 2 weeks. You'll be ready. I think like you'll know internally. Okay, I think I want to see somebody else. I want attention from someone else. I want to put myself out there. I think that's very, you know, like kind of just like your own person. But you have to know that you're doing it. Are you doing this as a rebound, or are you doing it really because you're ready to date somebody else? Because you don't want to like hurt somebody else,
Right.
like you
True.
were. So it's just like a lot of introspect in that whole like healing and, you know, dating someone new.
Yeah.
Right now in this journey of healing, I found myself reaching out to a few exes, which I should not have done, technically speaking.
We've all done it.
But my gut told me to. And it was never to say I miss you. It was the very few that you complained about, because in this journey, I'm also taking accountability for my own actions. I was creating this fantasy of what I wanted. And half the damn time, then and in recent years, y'all weren't here for this. I have a habit of, my ass is connected to my heart. So we fucking, you got me.
Because if the sex is good, you're like, damn, can I have this all the time?
To be honest, some of them, a lot of them were not good. I don't want to be multiple partners. I'm 46. I got 15 bodies on my belt.
I don't believe that.
I may have fondled a lot of things, but
No, I mean being 46. Oh my god, do you think I'm like? Do you think
I was like, wait,
you're a harlot?
that's what it sounded
Hold on, you
like.
said 15?
Okay, first I okay, first of
I
all,
was like,
only
bitch,
is
you
an
came at your
Actually,
neck.
16.
No, I meant 46.
Hold on, 16? Then I'm a fucking whore.
We're
I'm
all
not
whores.
saying. In my
We're all
mind,
whores.
I had this program in my head that, okay, I'm 19. I'm a sophomore in college. I work 2 part-time jobs. I have 17 credits. I'm supposed to be with an older man who's at least 29, 30. So he would have been there, done that. But then it wasn't working out. And I never took time to implement who I was in these relationships. You know how you first meet somebody, I'm throwing it out there what I want. And you have your Halloween costume on. And that's what I'm falling in love with. So I think, but I wasn't technically in love. I pushed myself to be this. And I didn't know me. I was so worried about, you said this is what you wanted when we first met. Oh, I'm trying to be check. So therefore, there is no reason that you don't want me.
Yes.
It wasn't being authentically me. No, I'm sitting here after this dude and I'm going right to the next one and you're giving me, I'm telling you how I was hurt. So I just told you how to fuck me over. And I didn't realize that ultimately leaving me sitting here trying to fucking commit, because what's wrong with me? I'm not enough. And this goes from me being a butch queen to me being a woman. What is wrong with me? I'm educated. I think I'm good looking. I can cook. I can clean. I may not be wanting to do a lot of things sexually, but bitch, if I'm in love, bitch, I'll be coming. That's Del Rio over here.
Hell
What
yeah.
is wrong that you still want to cheat? What is wrong that you want to put your hands on me and black my eye? That makeup can't even hold it. I can't even get on stage. You want to bruise my arms, to bruise my legs, to keep me in the house, but you go out here and be you. What is wrong with me?
But I
my
think-
mind frame was thinking.
Okay.
I know now that I'm not blaming solely them. I blame myself also now because now I know this is my fault. Not all of it.
Blame yourself.
No, blame yourself. No, I think like that speaks a lot about them as a person.
Yeah, I
that
think
they feel that they have to do this to keep you around or to show you who's in power or who's like, you know, but maybe in a sense, like if you're blaming yourself, maybe because you stayed, maybe because you allowed it to happen. But I don't think that's something that it's
not for
at
loving
fault.
someone.
You're,
But
you know, you're not at fault for that.
At a
That
certain point in
speaks
time-
to them and their, you know, growing up and
At a certain point in time, I knew shit was
experiences.
toxic.
Yeah.
I have comments says if you're my friend and you tell me your situation, I can sit here and tell you, you know, if you want to leave, I'm right here. But bitch, why you take your own advice? Type of situations.
Yeah.
So and all
That's
that, I have to own up to some things that I did wrong, and there were situations where you put your hands on me because you felt that I was cheating and I wasn't cheating. But now I do know, you know, I didn't cheat. Should have put your hands on me.
Right.
But what I should never have ever done is allowed myself to get close to another man emotionally while I was with you because you were not giving me the emotion that I needed. I allowed myself to emotionally cheat and get with him. I mean, and be around him, which to the public will look as if I'm fucking y'all both. And I wasn't, but you still didn't put your hands on me. So that's the
Right.
only thing I did
Right.
wrong in this situation.
I mean, you know, it's important to take accountability for your
what we do.
piece.
Yeah.
You know, at the same time, it's like an exchange
I
situation.
thank
So
them
it's like,
also.
you know, there's really
I thank them now because all of y'all that fucked me over, bitch is doing real good now. I'm gonna make an
Yes.
amazing wife one day, and I'm in no rush.
So I think so I don't think that it's self-blaming that you're doing. And I don't mean to like, you know, push my opinions of your feelings at all. But I think a better way to look at it is you're having a stronger sense of self-awareness.
yeah.
That's not blame. You're not blaming yourself. You're becoming more and more aware of how your mentality contributed to it, how your actions contributed to it. I don't think to heal from a breakup, especially one that's abusive emotionally and physically, blaming is going to make the healing process impossible. You need to be self-aware. You need to have a stronger sense of yourself and awareness. And I think that is one of the biggest steps of healing.
I think that goes back to introspection. Just, you know, knowing yourself. So when I said earlier, I think that's exactly the words that I was looking for. Not saying that you're blaming you, but just you're introspectful now and you're thinking about what I could have done better. And I think we all need to do that at some point.
That's an important part of healing also is forgiving yourself.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I met a young man not too long ago, and initially conversations and everything else, everything was so sweet, and it's like, oh, but then things were being said. I'm looking at things being done. Oh, I'm good. See, the old me would have still sat here with this, oh, he's gonna fall in love with me, things are gonna change. And this new me, oh, bitch, I'm out.
About getting older.
I'm out.
I'm on the
much more
same
self-aware.
thing because I will tell, like, you know, I have these conversations with my friends many times, and I'm like, look, if I see some mess, I'm not going to sign up for it.
Bingo.
You know, I mean, and I guess there's a little bit of you kind of have to be careful not to just cut everybody off, you know. So I get that.
We've had this conversation
so
many times because people think that we are like so mean for just like as soon as someone messes up, bye.
Right. But it's like, you know, there are levels because it's like if somebody
arm's length.
yeah,
You know?
I mean, it's like, you know, we know that we all have flaws. A flaw does not mean you get cut off, but some BS
flaws are
means
sexy.
you get cut
when
off.
you show your ass,
You know what I'm saying?
you get cut off.
There are, flaws are things that you can work through. Flaws are things that you can have conversations about and talk through and like strategize about how to approach a situation the next time it happens. Some other next level stuff is like, okay, let me press the button on this. I'm done. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's just how as you can see, I get a little bit hyped when I'm talking about like cut people off because people keep telling me I'm so
Get
darn
my scissors, little bitch.
hard.
But I think we all have limits. I mean,
that's what I'm hearing these days, and I'm not looking at it as me being hard. That's not what I want. So why am I gonna stay around
I'm
for
supposed to
it?
settle? I'm supposed to settle? No.
We could be friends though. Well, we could be like associates and possibly friends one day. That's all I got for you right now.
And like, I don't mean this to say like, I wouldn't say it as like a way like, oh, so there's still hope for you. But like, yeah, I'll be friends with you. And if you grow up, and maybe we can try again. But right now, you are not the person that I see myself with. I don't see you as husband material. Bye.
You seem more like a liability.
Right.
Yeah, you're seeming like a liability.
And State Farm is not going to cover me.
All right, so really quickly, let me just jump in here and let you know that we are trying to push this podcast to the next level. So if you could please give us a donation if you're enjoying this this show that we've got going for you. I really want to try to get this into. We're trying to get like a different look, a different style. We're trying to boost it up a little bit. So my Cash App and my Venmo is in the description. At Jarrod D King, and that's JarrodDking.
I would just like to say, I do think, I think I've said this a couple times on this podcast, and I will keep saying it. I don't know. I feel like as I get older, dealing with breakups has become less of a tragedy and more of like a speed bump, if that makes sense. I'm like, all right, well, that's done.
Okay, so I hear you, because I feel like we have a similar situation where it's like a lot of situationships that don't go on for a long amount of time. I
haven't been in like a relationship breakup in years, so I really don't have that much experience with it lately, but yeah.
So, but I mean, I think for anyone else, it's more than a speed bump.
Yeah, obviously.
I would say.
I think you have to. My friend said to me after, this thing happened, not like a month and a half ago, she was like, sit in your feelings, like allow yourself to sit in your feelings, because if you kind of fly through that and like think I'm fine, you don't heal. You're just kind of like pushing it down and not really working through that. So you have to sit in your feelings. And there's this song by, I don't know if you guys know Carol G, like Colombian, reggaeton artist.
Yes.
So she says in one of her songs, like, it's not an end, it's a beginning. So it's like a beginning to a new chapter. It's like, it doesn't have to be something that we see as is sad, but we can, be better from it.
See, that's what kind of that's what I meant.
Let me say this.
He's explained it way better.
I think I did choose the wrong wordings. So I gotta change those wordings when I say that I blame myself. I think there's more on the level of accountability. Accountability meaning that if I would have sat here previously after the first breakup and take the time to truly heal and understand what just happened, how did I interpret it? How did my heart interpret it? Not so much why, because I can't control the why of somebody else, but in my mental process, and understand that I possibly wouldn't allow, because some of the things were literally cycles of men who didn't even know each other, and y'all literally doing the same thing to me. And that there's nothing wrong with me. Not saying nothing was wrong with them. I was trying to force something, and I didn't know my damn self. And now, like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of amazing men out here. Probably not amazing for me, and that's fine. Probably just meant to be sex, and that's a damn another thing. I met somebody one day in passing, and I remember seeing you before, and it just went 1 minute a conversation, next minute you were in my house, and next thing I know, that was 6 years later, we still together.
You never know.
And then I didn't want to accept change. It's, I'm scared to leave because I don't want to start this all over again. Instead of saying to myself, no, bitch, run. Run, get yourself together, pull a thumb on the wheels.
So I think
just don't go off the cliff.
It's really interesting because I feel like a lot of times we kind of go through patterns. Like if we don't learn our lesson, we're going to go right back into that thing again until we get, this is what I should be doing differently. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to get taught the same lesson until you learn.
But now, I mean, at least for me, because I feel like, and I think I don't know if I'd mentioned this on the podcast before, but like I've gone through being with like kind of like toxic guys before. And I feel like that's where I learned my cutoff mentality. But now I meet a lot of guys who are good guys, but they're like not all the way interested, or they'll like show a little interest, but they're like not completely on board. And then it's just like, well, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying?
You're either on the boat or you're off the boat.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I think that that's the cycle that I'm in now.
Now I have a question for all of y'all.
Yeah.
You know, okay, relationships do make a lot of people broken until you heal yourself. But in some cases, what do you do when you meet another broken person as well?
I choose... in a perfect world, sometimes I get tempted and I'm like, okay, it's fine, we're both broken. But I prefer for us to both be in a good headspace because, you know, I very much value mental health and good mental balances. And it's quite easy to push your trauma or your bad experiences onto someone else. And we need to not do that.
Like I met a guy one time and he told me about how he was dogged out, and I was kind of shocked to hear a masculine guy who's the world will fall at your feet, the cisgender, trans, drags, and gay men will fall at your feet and actually do. So I was shocked to hear him come forth about how he's been done.
Yeah.
And I've been done that way as a girl. So in my mind frame, well, if you know what you've been done like by people like me, and I know what I've been done like by men like you, maybe we can work it out. Maybe we should give this a shot other than sexually, because I know what I've been through, and so we know not to do it to each other.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that result of
that doesn't make sense.
It makes sense.
I
think
didn't
in
do
a
it.
perfect world, but I think at the same time, let's not do it.
That don't place
ourselves.
That don't place my mind. Period. Like, should I have given that a shot?
Oh, you did. Oh, you didn't give it. You didn't give that.
No.
Okay.
I'm on this journey.
Yeah, let's not do it to ourselves. Sounds like
you.
let's not play with fire.
Also, if you guys are both. Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. I was just like, I think.
I'm sorry.
You're okay.
When you are when you meet someone that, you know, are maybe broken or trauma, I think we all have trauma. I think it's the way that you have bettered yourself. Like, what are you doing to get to a better space? Yeah, you could be broken right now, you're healing, but I mean, there's no judgment. You know, there's, you know, continue doing what you're doing. But if you don't, I think if it comes to you meeting someone that is not doing anything to better themselves or to be better, then I think that's when it's a red flag. So, I mean, I think we're all broken in some ways, but if we're not doing the work, then I think
that's the key.
It doesn't really matter, you know, because you're going to be the same person always. You're not progressing.
There has to be some show of trying to move the needle forward.
Yeah, and I will give that person my all my attention.
Like, there are some people who will be like, you know, this is just what it is, and it's, you know, take me as I am.
No,
I can't. No, because I mean, if I'm going to be in relationship with you, yes, I'm going to accept you as you are, but at the same time, if I'm calling out some crap, I know it sounds very aggressive, I promise. But if I'm like gonna call out some mess that you have, or if you're gonna call some stuff out in me, then we have to be able to kind of like work through it a little bit. Like, if we have some stuff with us, we have to be able to like say, you know, let's look at that and let's move forward with this. You know, let's not just wallow in mess.
So what do you think of the person who sits here and says, who goes by the philosophy of hurt people hurt people?
Yeah, I think hurt people do hurt people, but that's because you haven't worked on yourself to
better. I always question that. I never grew up with that terminology. This is something I've been hearing in recent years, and I've looked at it as that's your excuse to be a fucked up person. I've been hurt, and I've never went out of my way to do things. It hurts me when you tell me that I hurt you, and if I care about you, and you tell me that I hurt you, even if I don't understand how I did it. Even with you telling me and I still may not process how I did it, it hurts me that you're even saying that I hurt you. So, like, I can't rally behind hurt people. I think it's another excuse.
I think definitely could be used as an excuse.
For being a messed up person.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's also like, again, the introspect. There's no introspect, then you don't know if you're hurting someone and, what took you there. What brought you to the point there that you are, willingly, or knowingly hurting someone.
So with the whole hurt people, I think that, I think that it's good to share like, hey, so like, I've had this problem in relationships before, like, and you're sharing your boundaries and like what you like, how you came out of that relationship and stuff. But if you use it as an excuse, like like, well, my girlfriend, she cheated on me all the time, so that's why I act like this. Okay, people have been cheated on before, but they're not like using it as an excuse to like say like to be like overly protective or to like almost abusive. Like that's a fucked up thing to do. And also, if you, this is almost from like a semi-scientific point. I'm not like a scientist or a psychologist, but your frontal lobe is fully developed at 28. Okay, so if you are still saying that, like, if you are fully developed and you do not know how to yet heal from, a girl dumping you in high school.
Yeah.
It's people who like for when it comes to like relationships, for example, I've heard a lot of people sit here and say that, oh, I did it because you kept accusing me and stuff like that. And these are things immature, though. I'm like, you're grown as heck. Yeah. And this is what you choose to say because I asked you, because I didn't accuse you, I asked you, or your spouse had asked you. And because you asked you more than once, you chose to physically go. This is
emotional intelligence. Like, people lack emotional intelligence, and if they act like children, and it's like, why do you feel like you have to have lead a relationship this way? Like, if you are an adult, then you can have conversations and you can introspect into, this is not working for me. But people choose to either continue being in a toxic relationship for each other. And if it's not working for either of you, why? I get the whole, like, I feel comfortable in a sense, or like, what am I going to do after this? But at the same time, like, you're suffering, you have issues, what are you doing to each other? Because this is not just you hurting yourself, but you're hurting somebody else.
And I also think that, like, some people, honestly and truly, they don't know how to heal because it's tough. It does take a lot of self-reflection. But dude, like, I gotta see some effort. If you don't know how to heal from a certain relationship or breakup, that's fine. If you don't know how to do it perfectly, it's okay. That takes a lot of emotional intelligence. But if you're not willing to learn and instead you just use it as an excuse and as an acceptance of life, like, this broke me, so I'm going to keep it broken. No, don't do that.
Or now I'm going to break people.
Now I'm going to break people too, so they can match my brokenness.
Let me ask you this. There's a lot of people out here who are pretty messed up individuals, especially when it comes to relationships, like infidelity. You will go and you will seek out a relationship knowing you're going to be unfaithful, so to speak, right? And children start being had, and now a different switch in your mind turns on. So what do you do when you cross those people who just now begin to change? Not so much for self-healing or to be a better person to a spouse, but because you're fearful that all the damage you have done purposefully is going to come back on your kid. Did that make any sense to you?
So you're saying if you have previously been trash, but now you have a kid on the way, and now you switched, and you're asking us if we are in relationship with that person who decided to change their ways
solely not because of self,
not because
but because
of themselves,
you're
but
scared
because
now because you have a kid here now, another little human who's probably going to get backlash in life because if your karma's not going to get you, karma's going to get your offspring. So now you're scared.
Right. So here's my thing. Like, I feel like change can come, like in that case, it can come from maybe external factors.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Is it healthy today?
I mean, on some level, because there's still a piece of you that's like,
push you in that direction.
That. You know what I'm saying? So I get it.
The direction. If it doesn't, like.
But at the same time, if you don't want to change, if you're not doing the work, who cares how many kids you have in the way?
So I think if it sets off a trigger point of you realizing, of a person realizing, like, you know what, I am a sucky person. This, like, having this child kind of taught me, like, I would never want someone to treat this child the way that I was treated. I think that could definitely be. I mean, and I think
that's kind of how that would play out. Honestly, I don't think it would be.
Like in my mind, I'm not cute. I'm not saying I never had a feminine presenting person say it. I've only seen masculine presenting people use this. Oh, I want to come to you and have a talk about what I did, X, Y, and Z. All this and. What brought this on?
A guy did that to me, and then he asked for sex.
I have a daughter now.
I have a daughter now, and I don't want her to be treated the same way.
Now I'm realizing that what if what I did to you, somebody do to her?
They will. And they will have those experiences. And I think it's like, again, the introspect and what you do with that experience. I think like we have to, negative experiences, could be negative. But if we like wallow in them and like let these things consume us, then we're not progressing. Like, take whatever negative experience that was and take it as a learning. Like, what could I have had, done better? Or, how did I get myself into the situation? Like, it's all, I think we have to continue learning emotionally and, just everything about ourselves and about the world around us and who we choose to like, surround ourselves with.
Yeah. I agree. So on that note, because we always try to end the show with like a quick tip or something, we're talking to Viral or we're talking to somebody in Viral's circumstance, like you said. We're speaking to those people who have just recently broken up. They're trying to heal. They're trying to figure out when can they go back into the dating world. What's the quick tip for you guys?
I mean, it can honestly depend. Sometimes having that quick rebound, it could help or it can make you feel worse. But I think the biggest thing is just try your best to have a stronger sense of self and awareness when it comes to a breakup, because that will definitely help you heal. And when you feel like you solidly know yourself apart from that person again, I think that's the best time to kind of move on and try again.
I think you'll know, you know, and like, if you do like rebound and it doesn't feel good, then you know that, you're not ready for it. And, and again, self-awareness, and knowing yourself or at least learning from what you just went through.
There is no such thing as a time frame on when you heal.
Yes.
Everyone is at their own pace, but like everyone already has said, your self-acknowledgement and self-care and self-love within self, you'll know when you're ready. And if you think that you are ready and you go proceed to move forward and things seem a little fickle and awkward, back up. Back up. Save yourself. Run for the lifeboat.
Now, like I'm a very analytical person, and when I go through breakups or something, I tend to get very in my head, and I start thinking through like, what if this happened? What could I have done different?
Yeah.
There's a time for that. There's a time for that, but you do, and I think you said this earlier, you have to sit with your feelings. And so my advice,
thank you, Alyssa,
is so who said that?
My friend Alyssa.
Absolutely.
Sit with your feelings.
Absolutely. So my advice to you is to get out of your head and into the moment. So you really have to just kind of like just sit and feel all of your feelings and go through that process, and not trying to shove it off and pretend like everything is okay. It's not everything. It's okay to not be okay. I think that's a Netflix show or something.
I do have one small piece of advice that kind of, I don't know, you saying the advice that we just kind of like said, it kind of it reminded me of this. You know, when we're younger and like young, like I'm talking like 2 or 3, and 2 or 3-year-olds easily have tantrums because it's for the first time that they're feeling something. It's whether it's like an extreme want, if it's like extreme sadness because of something happened, or like super happy, but like their parent or the person with them is not on the same level, so they get frustrated and they start crying. I wrote an article about this and I did some research on it, and it's actually really fascinating. Like, instead of like telling this person like don't have a tantrum, like don't like you're having too many feelings, teach them to understand these feelings. And that's what you need to do in a breakup. Like, okay, why? Like, what happened? What are the big feelings that you're feeling? And they're just like, I'm mad. You're like, okay, why are you mad? Because of this. Well, what made you mad about that? And like, you have to take those steps. Like, you gotta find that why of why you're sad. Or
I love that.
And so like, honestly, treat your emotions like it's a little toddler. You're like, you don't want to scream at a toddler. Like, treat yourself as you would like a little baby. You don't want to scream at the toddler just because it's having big emotions, because that's how we create emotional trauma. Okay. We want to be nice to ourselves in a breakup and allow that time and space to heal.
Yeah.
that's what you kind of made me think of.
Yeah. And then the second part of that question, like you said, you'll know when it's time to jump back in.
Yeah.
If you can answer, like, here's my thing. If you can get to a date and the person sitting across from you asks you about like your past relationships, and you can talk about your past relationships without dogging the other person, without dogging your ex out.
That's always something I look for.
Yeah,
if you talk bad about your ex, I'm just like, ooh, red flag.
So, like, I don't know, maybe like try that out with like a friend or something. Sit and just like, I don't know, play it out, or just think through it in your head, or talk to yourself in the mirror, talk about, you know, your ex.
Talk to your therapist.
And if you start calling him names, then you're not ready to go date with nobody yet. You still got to heal through some stuff, because if there's still like, that emotion attached.
For the comedy effect, I kind of do make fun of this for comedy reasons.
I mean, but and the other person would know that.
For the bit.
Would know that. I think if you seem angry or like, then
it's like, oh, you're not really healed from that.
You're not
yet.
ready.
You know, the emotion is still there.
Yes.
You know,
definitely red flag.
I'm always trying to keep everything vague when I'm out. I don't want to ever act like I'm a virgin over here. I don't have exes. Oh well. Yeah, I've been single for this amount of time. Things have happened and I just can't rebound from them type situations. I don't want to go into details because that's going to make him look bad. And you guys are the first time I've ever heard someone sit here and say what I've been saying. You do understand that when you just sat here and told me about, hold up, you just took 15 minutes of our date to trash your ex. Wow.
It's not a good look.
Things may go bad with us in the future. You gonna do that same thing to me? Yeah, I'm good.
It's not good.
So like I immediately picture in my head how they're gonna trash me when it's over.
Exactly. That's all I can think about once you do that.
I try to be very careful about how I talk about like my situations on this podcast, because I don't want to like, I'm not trying to like dog people. Like, I know, like, I've been in some situations. I mean, like, but at the same time, it's like, it's, you know, if they don't know that we're talking about them, that's something different. But it's like, but if you're on a date, for sure, like, if you're like talking about dating, you don't want to say, you know, that hating ass bitch, you know, you don't want to go there.
I remember.
FYI, if I ask you on a date, have you ever cheated? And you have, be honest with me, so I know what to do.
All right, so I think we've done this conversation justice. And remember, if you have no one else,
you have us.